Five.
How's everybody doing tonight? As you can tell, we've got Red in the house. How you doing tonight, Jeff?
I am again redoing my entire desk working area here because I can't leave well enough alone.
Right. And I appreciate you coming in. Um, because us small channels, we do need help from the big boys.
No, you got good content. You just got to be consistent, put it out there. You got to, the YouTube's shifting to this whole thing of you got to, instead of just putting out stuff, you got to put out, you got to answer people's questions.
Right.
And that's what people are coming. They're coming to YouTube because they go, I want to know this. I want to understand this. I want to be educated about this. It's no longer that whole thing of, hey, I want to watch somebody lay on the couch for 5 hours like it used to be back in the day.
Right. Well, I don't know if you heard or not Monday on my live stream, but I'm actually back to work finally.
Really?
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That is
And
awesome.
yeah, considering the fact it's been since October of 22,
Yeah.
as far as since
Oh,
I've
wow.
been working. Um, the only drawback is I got to be there at 6 o'clock in the morning.
The only drawback is now you got to work.
Yeah, so I mean, because beforehand I didn't have to be there till like 7:30. It was like 5 minutes away. Now it's about 20 minutes away, but I got to be there at 6.
Yeah, that sucks. But you
Yeah,
know what? It's better than staying at home and, not having an income and not doing anything and,
right,
feeling like you're being useless. I know that feeling.
right. But just want to let everybody know that a few months ago, actually, last year, which of course wasn't that long ago, Jeff did a video on who is Vevor.
Oh, yeah.
It was like, however you want to say it. And I've had some dealings with them. I've got one product, they put out. But what Jeff didn't know was that there were a couple of reaction videos out there about what he had said. And I sent him the links. Did you get a chance to watch those?
I did actually.
Okay. And that's, basically, I sent him the email, contacted him. It's like, do you want to do a rebuttal about what they had said? And he
I,
goes, yeah.
I don't know if I can rebut because they didn't really address my issues. My issues, and a lot of people who like Vevor, and this is it. I've got to be probably one of the most hated, controversial people in the tool, segment on YouTube because I speak my mind and I try to be honest and tell the exact truth. And that a lot of times that's not what people want to hear.
Right.
I got a lot of people who commented saying that they love Vevor. They've ordered 5 things from Vevor. It's been fantastic. Well, that's great. It's like playing Russian roulette, though. It's like, you keep spinning that cylinder and eventually it's gonna go badly for you. And the
Right.
problem is if you're saving 10, 20% on each item and 1 in 5, 1 in 10 goes bad and you're just screwed on that item, say it's $100 item. Well, that savings now gets taken out of that $100. You got to do a cost analysis on this.
Right.
I don't have a problem with the quality of the stuff. I mean, I used to shop from Harbor Freight back in the day when the entire store was like that. You walk in, you roll your dice, you're like, oh, did I get a good one? Is it going to be square? Is it not going to be square? And then, but the thing with Harbor Freight is if it was a piece of crap, I could take it right back
Right.
and I could put it on the counter and they'd be like, grab another one. Vevor can't do that. And worse, they have a real track record. And you go to my video, you can read down through all the comments, real track record. In fact, somebody just commented today that their customer service sucks. And they do this whole game where they deny, and then you leave a review and they go, oh, if you take down the review, we'll give you a gift card for, 5% or whatever. And that's not what you want from a company. You want a company to stand behind their product. That
Right.
was my issue. And at the end of the video, I even said, hey, go ahead and buy Vevor products if you want to. It's your money. Just I recommend not buying it directly from Vevor. Buy it from one of these other, distributors. And they didn't care. The people who saw this video, I don't think they watched the whole video, or if they did, they didn't care about that part of my comments.
Right. And see, that's the thing that the run-in that I've got with them is you seen those Chinese diesel heaters that everybody's got for.
I have one.
Do you?
Yep.
Okay. Now, who's the manufacturer on yours?
I think it's Vevor,
Okay.
but I bought
See,
it through Amazon.
right. Well, see, I've got one. It is Vevor, and I actually got it through eBay a couple years ago. Um, I had a problem um, with it, and it was the one of the fans had gone bad on it. It's like, okay, well, I've seen some videos on how you take them apart. I'm going, well, that's simple and easy. Um, and of course, the fan itself was broke. So I was like, okay, so I contacted Vevor, telling them, hey, I've got the 8K diesel heater, and I need to see about ordering some parts. They go, is it under warranty? I go, no, this thing's about a year and a half old, and they only put a 1 year warranty on it. They said, well, sorry, we can't help you. They said, if it was still under warranty, we could ship you the parts, but since it's not, we can't do anything. I'm going, hold it. If it was under warranty, you have no problem sending me the parts free of charge. But
So
it's
they
not
say.
right. It's not under warranty. You don't want to sell me those parts and make more money off of me. And I wound up going through somebody, a third party off of eBay, and I spent like $60 for both the gaskets and a brand new uh, fan motor with a couple of extra fans. And I'm going, so that's, to me, that's money right there that they lost out on. They lost customer, service. And
Well,
it's like,
that's the thing with these, with especially when you get into the bigger purchases and such. They've sent me a few products over the years to test out, and the first thing was a jointer where the fence would wobble, and I'm like, I'm not putting my fingers near this thing.
right.
And I said, even if I did get it to run without it taking off a digit, it's not going to come out square. It's not going to be right. You can't make the fence out of stamped metal like that. The stamped it was just one of the flimsiest things. The rest of the machine was great, but the fence sucked and stuff like that. The fence is almost all of it. Um, and what do you do if you buy a $350 joiner? It was a joiner planer, 6-inch or 9-inch. I can't remember which one. And what do you do at that point when you've put that much money down? I don't care how much you've saved. You keep rolling those dice, and eventually it's going to come up snake eyes, and you lose. So the house wins.
Right. So basically, the kind that you got from them was the joiner up on top, and then the planer itself was on the bottom.
Yeah, it was. So it's a very popular style. That Jet actually makes one, but it's real popular over in Europe. You don't
Right.
see it as much here in the States.
Right. Now, for me, of course, I've got a planer by itself, and I've got a joiner that's by itself. I've got the wind joiner. I mean, I looked at the Vevor. For me, before I'm going out and buying anything, I'm looking around and seeing what reviews there are. Looking at different videos. I'll see what you have to say. Matter of fact, the planer I've got, it's an old Delta Shopmaster, and it doesn't even have a dust collection system. Right now, I'm doing this number, Hercules Braun. I mean Bauer, Hercules Bauer, Hercules Bauer. Which one am I going to get
For the planer?
Yeah.
Well,
not Vevor.
I'll be honest. The wind triple, and the spiral head are great values for the money when they go on sale.
Right.
Right now, I've got my Hercules half torn apart. I I need to get back down there. I was in the middle of tearing it down when the cold snap hit up here, and of course, I don't have heat in my actual shop.
Right.
But anyway, I'm tearing it down to get to the head to see if it is the exact same dimensions as the DeWalt. So if it is, then you can get one of the helical heads for it. But then that's going to double the price of the machine. You know, you got to be a serious woodworker at that point.
Right.
You know, Brad, who has Brad's Workbench, he doesn't really post there, but he's doing more stuff on TikTok and Instagram.
Yeah, I have not talked to Brad in a long time. I mean, it's been probably a year and a half or two.
Well, I
He's
follow him on TikTok, and he's still putting out stuff there. But he's got the Win, I think it's the spiral head, and he got it a few years ago, and he absolutely swears by it. And he does a ton of woodworking.
Well, the wind joiner I've got, it's the 8-inch spiral, and I love it. Now I do know they've got the Helix cutter head you can go out there and buy, but I can't see going out there spending $600 to $700 for one of those kind of heads when you're going to spend $400 or $500 on a machine. Then you're going to take it apart and add another 600.
Yeah, it's like the people who buy the big DeWalt and then immediately, you know, rip it apart, put a helical in it. I mean, you at that point, you know, I might just go and buy one of those Grizzlies or be looking online for, you know, industrial planers. You know,
Right.
actually somebody just had one for sale in my local area. It wasn't a Grizzly, but it was an industrial one that normally costs like 16 grand. I got a buddy of mine who does slab furniture and stuff. So I called him up. I'm like, dude, because we were just talking about it the day before. So he's probably over there right now looking at it. Who knows? Maybe we'll get access to a nice big planer.
Right. But anyways, what were your thoughts on those two videos I sent you a link on?
Well, I'm trying. I'm sorry. I've slept since then, and I think honestly, you know, the first guy. Who were the name of the channels? Can you give me that? I forgot. And it's not. I'm trying to. I know they're small channels. It's just I'm really terrible with names. Everyone should wear name cards, as far as I'm concerned.
To be honest, I don't remember them either. All I know is that the way I was watching them and hearing was basically, don't listen to Denner Tools. This guy doesn't know what he's talking about. We've never had any problems with them. Blah blah blah. I'm going, really? I mean, to me, you're the kind of guy that you're going to tell it straight and everything, whether it's, you know, and same way, I will say whether or not a tool is good or a piece of junk.
Yeah, I'll tell whether a tool's good. I'll tell whether it's bad. Part of my problem is that I really feel that there's very few truly bad tools out there. They're just not great for every job. So it's like, okay, this isn't a great tool, but for this one job, if you're doing this at this price point, it makes sense. And I say that, and all people hear is, well, you said it was a good tool, because people only hear what they want to hear, apparently.
Correct.
Just like in that video, one of the guys I think he's a subscriber of mine. And we've chatted a few times. He seems like a great dude. He's the guy who has, I can almost remember. It's like a 2-word thing. Anyway, he's got a ton of Vevor products. He gets shipped from Vevor. And, you know, and if he hasn't run across a bad one, then he hasn't run across a bad one. I never said that all Vevor products are crap. I never said don't buy Vevor. I said don't buy direct from Vevor. You know,
Right.
And as far as the profile on the company, I think he got a little upset about he's friends with the company at this point, and I totally get it. But when I held people got pissed at me for the Vim video I did, when I'm like, hey, this is a great company. It's family owned. It's based in the US. They've been around for, decades and decades and decades. You can really trust them. Other than their warranty thing, which is a little odd, but if you buy it, go through whoever you bought it from instead. And I got lots of hate for that one, because people were like, well, you crawled up their backside and stuff. Yeah, that's what I do. When I did my video on Sears, I didn't, I don't pussyfoot around. I go in, I get all the information. I lay it all out on the table. So you don't have to take my word for it. It's right there. You can see it. And if it's a good company, then great. Vim got a lot of, hopefully got a lot of business from my video. And They did a follow-up video. They're sending me tools. They were pretty happy with my video. but people have a tendency to not listen to everything I say. It's really a real problem on YouTube is, and there's a lot of drama seekers out there as well. People are trying to start stuff. I don't think either of these two were trying to do that. I think that they saw part of my video, didn't watch the whole thing, and ran with it. And I don't blame them. I have a tendency to do long videos, so it's hard to fault them for not watching the whole thing.
Well, like I said, I saw the Vim reaction, because they were actually, playing it, and then they were stopping and making comments and everything. To me, they were not saying anything bad.
No, they weren't upset at all. They were like, "Hey, that part's true. This part's slightly different. This is where we were in it. This is, clarifying some points." I thought it was a great video. I think I linked it from my channel. I think everyone who's interested in Vim should watch it. I think it's absolutely fantastic that Vim has a channel where the owner's son, and I don't know what the other guy's role is, but they sit there and they answer all these questions and they talk to everybody. It's the number one thing when companies reach out to me and go, "Hey, we'd like a long-term partnership. We want to get the word out about our company." I'm like, the first thing you have to do is create a line of communication. Now, whether it's through me or you create your own social media or something, the community wants to be able to go, "Hey, this is weird," or "Why are you doing this?" And they want to get answers from you. So you got to find a way to do that. And Vim is, that's rock star kind of level, access. They're giving you right to the top there practically.
Right.
So.
And I've never even heard of them until you did the video about them. It's like, there's another tool company out there. It's like, okay.
I'll be honest. I'd heard of Vim, but to me, I wasn't really focused on them because they were always, at least in my view, a specialty company. They do specialty tools, specialty automotive tools. And for a long time, that's legitimate what they were. And they had branched out a few, like back in the 2000s, early 2000s, they'd started making stuff, not a ton, but started making it. And it seems like only in the last 10 years have they really ramped it up. And clearly in the last 5 years, they've started getting serious about it. And they've been OEMing stuff, a lot of stuff to people. So, they've been making this stuff, or at least bringing it in. I don't think they have their own factories. I could be wrong though. But they've really been, apparently kicking some butt here in the last, handful of years. And I just want people to know, like, hey, if it's a good company, it's a good company. And if not, it's not. And that's why we do this kind of deep dive. And we lift up the skirt, look underneath, check the gums, take the temperature, we do the whole 9 yards. If it's a pass, it's a pass. If it's a fail, it's a fail.
And that's just like, dealing with Vevor. You're talking about how, of course, they are from China and everything. I don't remember I probably couldn't even say the city over there. I think you had a better shot at it than I could ever say. As far as, where they started at.
Was it Shenzhen?
Hey,
I don't remember.
Don't get me a line. I'm not even going to try. The only thing I know Chinese wise is going to Panda Express and ordering Beijing beef and orange chicken. Yeah. But then of course, you showed their US office, and it was like how many different times they had changed, basically, ownership, because they tried it and then they failed and then came back as somebody else, for owning it and everything. It's basically in the same building, but different office. And it's like, do you want to explain to everybody on that more that, might not have seen your video?
Well, it's all about building a story. It's kind of like being a detective, and you go in, you have to get all the facts, because there could be this company. Look at Tack Life. Tack Life looked like this really substantial company. They were killing it on Amazon. They were coming out every week. They were coming out with more tools, and then they had fire pits, and they had everything. By the end, they had thousands of products, everything labeled Tack Life. And I've got some of it. And then come to find out they've been buying, buying reviews, which, to be entirely honest, I'm pretty sure 90% of Amazon sellers do, because you get in a situation where, well, the other guy's doing it and I'm going to die if I don't. So I have to play the stupid game that Amazon set up. But anyway, that said, the these companies, they come and go, and I think people have a right to know and to understand where they come from. With Vevor, it was like one shell company after a shell company after a shell company. And don't get me wrong, I worked in Silicon Valley for 20 years. Companies failing is just a rite of passage, and you start your next one. But
Mhm.
they kept trying to start the same company and they were getting shut down by the feds. Okay. So it wasn't like they just ran out of money. They had the feds come in and be like, you can't do this. You're importing fakes. You're not doing your reporting properly.
Right.
That's red flags. And that's what we're looking for. We're looking for red flags. And there were a lot of red flags. But again, Vevor, they're just like Sears. They're just like Harbor Freight. They're just like a lot of, resellers. They don't make anything.
Right.
They're just they're just buying from manufacturers, slapping their name on it, and reselling it. So then it really becomes, are they going to stand behind it? And, are their suppliers any decent?
Right. You talked about that. That reminded me, of course, you also, mentioned about Sears, you know, as far as, making something and everything. And it's like they don't make it, but they'll put their name on it. And one thing I was thinking about was the Porter Cable, I think, little 6-inch planer or joiner that they've got. Okay. If you look at it, it's the same thing as a Craftsman one, but painted different. It's like it's going to be the same company, same manufacturer making it, but they've got a different name on it.
Yeah, of course they're owned by Stanley Black and Decker, but what a lot of people don't realize is core products. This, you got to understand this with manufacturing, and this is, I know you probably know this, but a lot of the viewers may not. But even the big companies, and Stanley Black and Decker is the biggest. They usually only manufacture their core products. Their
Right.
secondary products, depending on how much it sells, they might manufacture it depending on how much it aligns with what they do, or they might outsource it. Their tertiary, the third tier products, they don't manufacture at all. Stanley Black and Decker doesn't make any of their air compressors in any of their lines. Porter Cable, Craftsman, DeWalt, none of those are made by them. The vacuums are not made by them. I'm not sure the desktop or benchtop power tools. I would not be surprised if they're not made by them and they're OEMing them from factories in China.
Right. And that's the thing, about, the Beaver stuff is that, I looked at uh on their website some of the products that they've got. I'm going and kind of like what you were thinking about. Oh, pizza oven.
The pizza oven was kind of cool.
Yeah. But I looked at some of the stuff that they've got. I'm going, okay, I've seen this somewhere else. I don't remember where. But instead of being like black and orange, it was a different color, and but it looked just like it. And of course, that was like I said last year, and I slept a lot since then. Uh, but yeah, like you said, they're not manufacturing anything. Okay, they're going out and they're actually they're finding a manufacturer over in China. Say, hey, can you make this for us? Just like everybody else is doing. And it's like, here's our specs and everything. Can you make this and you know put this color combination on there? Slap our name on it. They'll go, yeah, it's going to cost you so much money. They go, fine. They get it all made. They send it out. The thing also, like on those diesel heaters, you've got how many different companies over in China making those things, because that was originally over in Germany. Okay. the patent on it had ran out. Of course, like with everything, when a patent runs out, it's free game for everybody. So, and that's the thing, they're not making it; they're having someone else make them, and there's several different brands out there making the same thing, but one might be red and one's black.
Well, I mean, Vevor's problem, the reason the last version of them got shut in is they weren't waiting for patents to expire.
Yeah.
And that got snagged. In fact, I'm going to be back down in Vegas at the end of March for the National Hardware Show. Now you can go, anybody can go back on my channel. I've covered it 2 or 3 times, and it's always okay. Usually it's a pretty good show. During COVID, it was pretty bad, but that show, if you look, like, and I hate to go back to the pizza oven thing, but the last time I went, it was everyone had pizza ovens. It was the thing. And I guess the year before was everyone had pizza ovens. That year it was everyone had rotating pizza ovens, and they're all like, there was Westinghouse was there, and Westinghouse was selling pizza ovens. Westinghouse doesn't make pizza ovens. Westinghouse doesn't make anything anymore. They're just a brand, business as a brand. So they're a management company that leases out their name to different companies. Westinghouse generators, there's no Westinghouse making anything anymore.
No.
But that's what that show really is. The National Hardware Show, 9 times out of 10 is it's companies who are OEM Chinese companies there trying to find people who want to buy their product and put their name on it. The other 10% are people who have a business who are trying to get distribution in the US, like Cenix. I covered the Cenix stuff. Great tools, great manufacturing. They're a company that's kind of like a couple steps under Shervon as far as manufacturing in China. They really know what they're doing, but they are more of kind of like Greenworks. They're more of an outdoor power tool company,
Right.
and they're trying to dip their toes in power tools, and they're just charging way too much. It's they need to be at the prosumer level, and they're charging at the pro level, and they're never going to get a foothold if they keep doing that.
Yeah. Of course, I'm making sure that Shervon stays in business with all the cobalt stuff that I buy.
Yeah.
I mean, for 2 years running, I was going in during their the November, December, and I was buying like 4 of those 4 amp hour battery packs with the charger for $149 and getting a free tool.
That's a great deal.
It is, especially when one tool I want to get was that 3/8 impact ratchet wrench.
Yeah.
That thing
why isn't more people making those? That's what I want to know.
I'm surprised nobody else is. I mean, I did a video on all the free tools I've gotten, and it's like, man, these things I am not going to complain.
Yeah, I mean, I think I can't remember where I saw the comparison between it and the Milwaukee's got one, but it's a 12 volt, which is great for getting in small areas. But if you want to bring the beans with it, it's not gonna help you. And it seems to be like a market that people are just desperate for, because I get people asking me probably 4 or 5 times a month, going, "Hey, do you know anybody besides Milwaukee and Cobalt who makes one of these?" And I'm like, the only companies I know are like Ingersoll Rand and people like the big ones where it's just outrageously expensive.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Well, I'm not going to do that."
Yeah. And of course, beforehand, like me growing up, doing automotive work, if you wanted the best air tools, you didn't buy Matco, Snap-on, you bought Ingersoll Rand. That was,
yeah, me too.
That was the go-to air tool or compressor. And it's like, okay, but you're also talking lots and lots of this right there.
Yeah. But
I don't know if, okay, Divergent Crafter is asking if DeWalt makes one.
I don't believe they do. I do know they make a right angle impact adapter. So you could take an impact driver and put that on there and use it like one. But let me see here. I'll look it up. Right angle impact. Maybe they came out with a new one. They got the atomic, but that's a ratchet. I don't think it's an impact. Yeah, I think all they have is the adapter.
Okay. Yeah, because see, I didn't know about it. The first time that Lowe's had that special I saw, I just got the regular 3/8 ratchet. I was like, okay, well, they got this one. It's got the bigger head and everything on it, but I've already got a 3/8 ratchet. It's like, why do I need another one? And it's like $160, $170. No, I've already got one. Then I saw a video, this guy at a junkyard with that, and he's taking frame bolts and everything off with it. I'm going, okay, I wish I'd gotten it when they had that special. Like, well, if they have that on there again, I'm not going to pass it up. And sure enough, they did it again. It's like 18 or 19 different free tools you could choose from. And I was trying to get the ones that were run $120, $130 or more for the value. Because, I mean, they had some that was like, oh, if you buy this, you get this one for free also, but you were talking like $80. I'm going, no, I'll just go buy the tool by itself. It's not worth spending $150 to get a $70 tool for free.
Yeah. Well, I was just looking while we were talking here, and it looks like whatchamacallit, Rigid has one.
Oh, really?
As does CC, which is a generic Amazon brand. So I hadn't seen the Rigid one before. Be interesting to see how that one pans out. $200.
Wow.
But yeah.
Now, is that air or is that
It's
battery?
cordless.
It is cordless?
Yep, 20 volt.
Okay.
Or 18 volt, whatever. I mean, it's all the same, but
right.
Yeah, it's a 3/8 right angle impact 18 volt. Oh, and it's a subcompact, so it's part of their new line. Let me see here. Let me look at the reviews and see the oldest one.
And
so it looks like it came out June of last year.
And up like this, if anybody didn't catch it last week, we're not talking cigars and bourbon tonight.
No, I'm ready. I got my bourbon right over there. I need to go get some more. Actually, I'm headed over to Bozeman on Friday. There's a great bourbon bar and shop on in Bozeman. So I'm gonna head up there, grab a few more bottles, get some more cigars. I gotta fill up this humidor.
Hey, Jeff, just do not burn your thumb again.
It was my index finger, man. I haven't done that in forever where the match head sticks to your finger. That was oh my gosh, that hurt like a thumb bitch.
And it was like all of a sudden I was like, what did Jeff just say?
Yeah, the language started coming out after.
Okay. And I went up telling Crystal, says, I could see if Jessie was there, she'd be wanting to reach over that table and put some duct tape on that mouth.
She gave me a talking to afterwards, and she's like, do you think this is appropriate for the channel? And I'm like, no. So we're moving it. We got a whole new, I set up a whole completely independent channel. It's called Cask and Ember. We don't have anything on it. There's just an intro video, but starting Friday, we're going to start doing, Mrs. isn't coming down here because there'll be cigar smoke. So I'm going to start doing the bourbon and cigar talk and, anything else that comes across. So,
yeah. All right. Well, we do have a question from the chat. Dancing wants to know, are the Amazon brands fairly good in tool categories? He says it come across some of their food products and they're holding their own.
So first of all, love the name Dance Human Rentals. I love that. Second of all, you're talking about Amazon brand in the tool category.
Right,
And if it's like Amazon Basics, I'm going to say no. It's maybe the quality of a Pittsburgh product at Harbor Freight, maybe. I've seen a number of other things. Maybe there's some gems out there, but the stuff I've seen is just terrible. In fact,
right,
most of the Amazon Basic stuff I've grabbed has been pretty much terrible.
right.
Now they also have the Denali brand, and Denali is supposed to be their upper level brand, but really Denali is just skill. It actually says Denali by skill. So and I don't even know if I don't even think they have the skill brushless. I think they just have the base model skill. And if I'm going to buy skill, I'm going to wait for a big sale and I'm going to get all the brushless stuff because the skill brushless stuff is solid, good prosumer grade kind of tools, homeowner kind of stuff. The skill brushed is just entry level. It's not terrible, but I can remember back when I was young and on a budget, I could totally see somebody, using that. But if you can hold out for the sale or get the 12 volt, I'm absolutely, me, I'm a huge fan of their 12-volt stuff. And every once in a while it goes on sale for a ridiculous price. They just had like the 3-tool combo with flashlight and a speaker for like $120.
That's not bad.
Oh my gosh. And then all the 12-volt stuff is all brushless. Almost all their batteries are USB power banks as well. They have some pretty advanced chargers. The only problem with the Skill 12-volt line is that they're not expanding it the way they need to be.
They have a 12-volt brushless power bank.
Yeah, power banks. So is the light. I checked. I cracked the whole thing open. Not a brush to be found.
I tell you, that is one thing that has really made things a lot better in the tool community is, having brushless technology. I like it.
I'll be honest. I was a little bit hesitant when it first came out because they were pushing it as you have to have it, you have to have it, have to have it. But we've been dealing with brushed tech for years. And what I love, and and it's still true, brushed tech is in the long run more reliable as long as you can get parts and service it because it's self-serviceable.
Right.
The problem with brushless, on the other hand, if you let the genie out of the bottle with brushless, well, it's dead, Jim, unless you got it under warranty, because you got to replace all sorts of circuitry and chips and stuff like that. So
right.
That becomes a big issue. The other thing is brushless requires a level of programming in those chips. So the really good brushless, even if the chips are made overseas, the programming is done in the US. And when you get a lot of these, overseas companies, the no-name companies of Amazon, even if they are brushless, they're not going to have the same level of programming in there. So don't expect the same level of performance you're going to get from an American-based company. Even if it is made overseas, the quality control and the programming is all done here.
Right. See, that's, the one problem that I ran into, because when I first started many years ago, probably over 20 years ago, buying stuff, I started off with the Cobalt 18-volt. And of course, that was all, brushed.
Oh, yeah.
Let's see. Okay, barbecue's saying, when it comes to brushless versus brush, is the low and slow speed control. That's what nobody talks about.
Yeah, because like brushed, based on the technology and the math involved, at lower speeds is going to have more torque than brushless.
Mm-hmm.
The thing what brushless does is it creates false torque, if you will, by first of all jacking up the juice from the batteries, over discharging the batteries, and through speed. As you get that thing going faster, like the DeWalt table saw, that little compact table saw they sell. I mean, the reason it can cut the things it cuts is because it just completely turns that that motor into a cracked out little hamster. If it was, if it was running at normal speeds, it wouldn't have enough to go through a lot of the harder woods.
Right. For me, talk about table saw, I only started doing woodworking last year, and I did a lot of research. That's the one thing with me is like I'm gonna before I go and buy anything, like I said, I'm gonna go out there, look at the different videos on YouTube and the other things, and it's like there were about 6 or 7, you know, saying as far as these are your top 10 table saws, compact, whatever, like homeowner style. And I don't remember. I don't remember if it was 731 Woodworking. I think that's the name of the channel.
Yeah,
But
I knew him.
okay, he actually did a review of the Skill table saw. I don't remember the model number, but it's one that I wound up buying because that's the one that stuck out as far as the best for working for me. Not, I
That's a
mean,
great little saw.
right. I mean, it's got the legs on it fold out. You can have it sit on its side, for storage if you want. It's got the rack and pinion uh fence. It's a 10-inch. You can even upgrade to a dado stack, which is what I'm going to be looking to do. The problem is I gotta go through skill to get that insert for having a dado stack. It's like, yeah. But of course, weird thing about it is I'm using a Harbor Freight 5-gallon bucket with a Bauer Cyclone separator for a dust control going into a Bauer 14-gallon shop vac.
Yeah.
Hey, and it's working.
Well, I mean, and if I'm not mistaken, at least I know with the cordless tools from Skill, they have a 5-year warranty. Does the saw have the same warranty?
I don't remember. I think it had a 3-year. Uh, it might have gone to 5 once I got it registered. I'd have to double check on that. But I mean,
Also,
it's a damn good saw. I mean, very easy to change the blades because I mean it's got onboard tool storage. You got a spot for holding the miter gauge. So you got the little slot and everything for the push stick. Um, I mean, it's just a few little adjustments that I had to do to it, and it's like this thing's working fine.
I was just going to say the woodpeckers, they just came out with this thing. Now, right now, it's only for the saw stop. And I'm hoping they come out with it for a bunch of other stuff. But when you do the, you put when you're changing your saw blade, usually you have the washer and the nut there to compact it, make sure everything's nice and tight. Well, they've combined the washer with the nut, so you can put dado stacks in some of the smaller saw stop saws that can't hold it because they meld it all into one. It's like it's fused. And I would
Right,
love to see them do that for a lot of the other saws because I know a lot of people are looking for saws that will take a dado stack, but the arbor just isn't long enough once you
right,
put the stack on to put everything on. But if they can do that same thing, and actually, who knows? Maybe it'd be a thing you could make yourself if you're handy with a welder. You could bore out the center of that washer, put the nut in there, and weld it up, and have the same thing
right.
on the cheap.
Talking about saw stop, have you heard about the patent that's running out on them?
Yeah,
And
you're
yeah,
talking about 731 Woodworking just did that huge video on it, and it's if you guys haven't seen it and you're interested in the saw stop thing, you definitely got to go see it.
right.
But I've been following that for years. We have several videos on it.
Okay. Yeah, but have you heard that Congress is actually trying to get it passed where all uh table saw manufacturers have that same technology?
Okay, here I'll try to make the story short. So The guy who invented SawStop is a patent attorney, and that's what he's done for most of his life. And when he invented SawStop, he tried to immediately. He didn't want to make the saw. He just tried to sell it to everybody. He went to every manufacturer, and they all went, "No, that's just going to raise the cost. No one will buy the saw." So he built his own company from the ground up to compete with the big boys. He got funding, did everything, and he did it. And he was, fairly successful. And then he sold the company to Festool. But along the way, he did something that a lot of companies or a lot of people do when they're doing this kind of stuff. Like the guy who invented the smoke alarm. Nobody wanted to buy a smoke alarm. So he went to city councils and had them make it mandatory. So regulation by government is one of these entrepreneurial concepts that if you can get somebody to do it, and SawStop has been lobbying Congress for over a decade to implement this. And every single saw manufacturer got together, formed a nonprofit, and pumped billions of dollars into it to stop this. And actually it split off. There's now two of them. And they've been fighting this tooth and nail, basically buying off every single person they can for over a decade. And I find it hilarious and not a little bit suspect that just as SawStop's core patents are expiring, and now that Festool has bought them, suddenly Congress is like, and it's not actually Congress, it's like some administrative council, maybe we should enact this. I don't think for a second that the major manufacturers are truly fighting this anymore, because I know for a fact, because I've talked to a lot of people in the industry through my contacts, that everyone, DeWalt, Milwaukee, of course, Bosch has one. Even Harbor Freight has been working on and developing their own version of the SawStop saw. And a second that those patents come down, they're going to launch. They have them ready to go. Some people are even saying that they're already building them overseas, stockpiling and waiting for this thing to come about so they can just ship them right in. So right. They're sitting there crying about, oh, it's going to raise costs. Oh, we don't want to do this. And so when they enact it, they'll be like, oh, well, our hands were tied. We have to do it, and we're going to charge you extra money. But the reality is they've already costed this out. They've already got the manufacturing down. The money's already been spent a decade ago. Mm-hmm. So I think it's all a ploy by the major manufacturers to basically force consumers to spend more money, because they've already figured out how to do it for, they're going to charge you $100, but they can do it for 10.
Right.
I mean, and Bosch proved that. Bosch is like the thing that's the most expensive part of the SawStop, besides the software, is the clamping mechanism. But Bosch realized, well, if you get the saw out of the way, you don't need to stop the blade. It doesn't ruin the blade. You just need to drop it super quick. So then you can reuse the blade. So the SawStop doesn't, of course, they don't want this to happen. They want to keep making money. Of course, they're owned by Festool now. Right. But I think that all these manufacturers have figured out we can build this in for pennies on the dollar, and we're going to charge you guys $100 to $1,000 per saw.
Well, isn't that what the way they've got it designed now for SawStop is that, because I've seen videos where it's like the blade just drops just immediately.
Well, it breaks too, doesn't it?
No, not that I know of. As far as I know, it just drops and the motor shuts off.
Okay, I'll maybe they've changed it. I haven't looked at it in I guess about a year or two, but I know that there was some agreement between them and Bosch for them not to continue to sue Bosch, because Bosch, they did something really stupid. In the middle of the patent, they basically dropped the same saw. We're like, we don't have the stop part, so it's entirely different. And they're like, you still have the first part. And you understand, SawStop doesn't have one patent. They've got, at this point, hundreds of patents, and they're filing for a continuance on their original patents to get them to go longer than the, I think it's, was it 17 to 20 years, however long it is these days.
Right.
But the likelihood is they're going to fail, because they actually really don't have a case, but they can just throw more money at to get continuance, and that just keeps stretching it out.
Yeah. Dancing wants to know, why did Craftsman throw in the towel recently? And I think that's going on as far as that big fiasco that they built that big plant here in Texas, probably an hour or so away from me, and they were trying to start production up again on making tools in America. Well, I'm going, yeah, and they were trying something different. And to me, it's like, hold it. You had the technology to do something that you've been doing for how many decades, and you want to try tweaking it and change it. Why not just go with what works?
Well, right down the road is the proto plant in the same town.
Yep.
And right down the street, I mean, it's miles, but it's not like next door. But Proto's been down there making tools in the US for decades.
Right.
And but the thing is, look at the cost of a proto tool. They were trying to do this complete it's like the way they make their boxes and the way Snap-on works with a lot of their stuff. It's made in the US, but the people making it aren't, we all think this idea like, oh, American jobs. They're not skilled labor. They're button pushers. They're guys who are loading stuff into the machine, taking stuff out of the machine and pressing the button. And I don't mean to denigrate what they do, but it's not the jobs. It's not the kind of jobs that they're marketing to us. They'll show us pictures of guys striking something and sparks flying everywhere. And the reality, it's some dude behind a shield pressing the button. And they were trying to come up with this completely or 90% robotic system for, it was the sockets for broaching. Broaching is the issue.
Yeah.
Pliers, look at Wild. They've been making pliers in the US for years. Channel Lock can make pliers in the US for years. They can all do it effectively. Making pliers and screwdrivers and stuff like that, easy. But broaching sockets and ratchets is where it gets really difficult. And they couldn't make it work. I mean, talk about a black eye. Think about the guy who had to go into that meeting and be like, I think we should shut it down. I mean, tell me they didn't take them up to the top of the roof and throw them off.
Yeah. I mean, how many, billions of dollars they spend on getting that brand new building built. I mean, they bought the land, they had the building built and everything, had the machinery constructed, brought in. They had about 40% of the building operational and going, and then they go, well, this ain't working. We're just going to shut it down. Really? You just going to give up without trying to figure out how in the hell to make it work? Someone there has got to have a smarter brain cell in their head than the people that might be working there.
Well, it's a combination between they're stuck between a rock and a hard place. Everyone wants manufacturing in the US. And then somebody says, okay, fine, we're going to bring real manufacturing back to the US. And then the unions show up with their handout. Local politicians show up with their handout. They're telling you, oh, we're going to give you a bunch of tax breaks on the back end, but this has to get passed and I need to get reelected. So, and then you have the EPA coming in who doesn't want any of this. The EPA, I don't mean to go political, but the people in the EPA don't like manufacturing in the US and they do everything they can to destroy it. There's like, oh, the spotted grasshopper lives here. Sorry, you can't build your plant. And then you have the not in my backyard folks who are like, well, I don't want that here. And a lot of people did complain about that plant. They didn't want it there, which was odd because it's in a light industrial zone anyway.
Yep.
But I mean, just look at it's difficult. Look at Malco. Malco went back to DeWitt, Nebraska, and I praised the crap out of them for this. And they started back up the plant in DeWitt to make actual locking pliers where where Vice Grip started. This was the town that built Vice Grip, that was Vice Grip's home until Stanley Black & Decker bought them and moved them overseas. And they basically rescued that town. And they tried as well as they could, and they died. And the rumor I'm hearing is that Snap-on bought the manufacturing and is moving it to somewhere on the East Coast somewhere. But building stuff in the US is just dodging bullet after bullet after bullet. The only way you can do it is coming up with kind of crafty, out of the box kind of stuff. Look at Tecton. Tecton with, they call it laser forging. Basically, they use a high power laser to cut sheet material, thick steel sheet material,
Right.
and then they CNC that, and then they heat treat it, and then they polish it, and then they chrome it, and they're doing all that in Michigan, but they can't do actual forging because of the EPA and stuff like that. It would just, but because of that, they can't do super high end kind of stuff, and you can't make tools that are really meant to take a ton of stress.
Yeah. And that's one thing, kind of like what you kind of touched on is that, everybody goes, well, we need stuff, more of these tools made here in the US compared to being made over in Taiwan, Japan, China. Yeah, we could do all that, but then you're going to pay Snap-on style pricing. That's the whole thing. Yes, Snap-on tools are good. They're made here. But the simple fact is that, yeah, they've got the technology where they're making them good quality. It's like if you want a Craftsman wrench made in America, or let me rephrase that. If you want a Pittsburgh Pro ratchet that's got the same quality as a Snap-on, that $15-$20 ratchet is now going to cost you about the same price of an Icon, and the Icon's going to be even more.
Yeah.
That's the whole problem.
Look at everybody who does make stuff in the US. The price goes up. It's ridiculous. We have in Montana here, there's a great company that makes travel bags, like adventure luggage kind of stuff, called
Right.
Red Ox. And it is made in Montana sourced.
Tell you what, I just thought of something. I'm going to go get one of my tools, and I'm going to show you what I wound up finding. So I'll be right back.
All right.
You remind me of it.
I will. But anyway, these bags, they're fantastic bags, but they're stupidly expensive to the point where most people won't buy them. I've got a bag right here. Actually, if any of you follow Marine X for the like EDC stuff, he turned me onto this, and the company sent me this. But this is their wax canvas kind of carry bag, and I'm turning it into a EDC / tool bag, and it's a $200 bag. Most people aren't going to spend $200 on that. But I'm trying something. I got this little card here. I need to find what somebody knows. Somebody who makes something like this that's bigger. Has all these slots. It'd be great if it had like Velcro on the back, so I could Velcro stuff, because this part's a big open bag area, and I want to throw stuff in here, but I don't want it just jangling around. But anyway, that's made in San Francisco, handmade in San Francisco. So it's hell. My daughter was working at McDonald's here in town, and we're in Montana. Granted, it's a touristy kind of area, and she was making $16.50 an hour. Tire techs are being hired at $25 starting. So what do you think it's going to cost to get some people in there to work in manufacturing with a union, with benefits? You're going to be paying $50 a wrench.
Yep.
Until we can get some of this more automated manufacturing going.
Oh, I didn't see that. Thank you, Barbecue. Send me a $2 super sticker. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Hey, Barbecue 76.
Yep. Yeah, that's one thing I like. So, yeah, I'm finally monetized, and I did finally get my first check.
Nice.
Yeah, it wasn't much, but hey, it helped out. But no, what you're talking about it is I was, yes, I like going to my pawn shops to find good deals, and you can always find some good deals.
Not here.
Now, do you recognize these?
Oh, that's the old school Cobalt offset wrenches. Box end.
Uh-huh. Now, do you know what's unusual about them?
Besides where they're in a gray case.
I found these at my pawn shop, and mind you, I got
Well,
the
are they made in U.S.?
yes.
The old school cobalt, actual cobalts before it became
Oh,
a
yeah,
Lowe's brand.
cobalt, and mind you, this is the made in USA.
Yeah, a lot of people don't realize Cobalt, Husky, a lot of the house brands you see at Lowe's and at Home Depot and other places actually used to be legit, American brands.
Right. And the weird thing about it is, you know, now the standard wrench set. Oh, thank you, Shelly, for that $3 super sticker. I appreciate that. Hopefully that wasn't I didn't miss any others. But what's really funny is the standard um set is all complete. But there is one missing from the metric. And you'll never believe what wrench is missing out of the metric.
Tell me it's not the 10 millimeter.
Believe it or not, it's not the 10 millimeter. That is actually in there. The 9 millimeter is what's missing.
That's like my where to go? My set of my Wera, my tool check plus my gray level, and I'm missing the I still have my 10, but I'm missing the 8.
All right, well, CMC's got a good question. So, how much value loss do the high end tools lose over time? Like Snap on Mac, probably Matco, maybe like Cornwell. To me, they really don't lose that much. You can still, the value on them, it's just like anything, like a car or anything. As soon as you drive it off the lot, the value's gone down. Does that mean it's bad? No, but it's the fact is just like anything else. Yeah, you're not going to be able. Say if I went uh, to a Snap-on truck, I bought something brand new. Like right now, am I going to be able to get that same value if I turn around and sell it to somebody? Probably not. And say I spent, bought something that was $100. Well, someone's going to want to go, well, it's not in the original package, and don't know how long you've had it. I'll give you $75 for it. Now that's what I look at. It's like 10 years from now, it's still going to have some good value. They do hold their value better and longer than some of the other stuff. So, Jeff, what is your input on that? What would you have to say?
Well, it's hard to say how long stuff like the newer, like we call the tool truck alternatives. How long is because there's not Icon, Tecton's been around. They were Michigan Industrial Technologies, but back when they were MIT, they were junk. They were like the original Harbor Freight stuff, like just the basic entry level stuff. They haven't been a tool truck alternative until the last less than 10 years. Icon came out in, what was it, 2019-ish, around there. Capri around the same time. I mean, gear wrench has been around for a while. These real alternatives to the tool trucks are really recent. So long term, it's really hard to say. Now, I have done quite a bit of a deep dive in testing and looking into how much does like a Snap-on or Matco or Mac or Cornwell, how long do these tools, how do they last? And what I'm seeing is they lose at least half value.
Right.
Now, the real question though is, where do you live? If you live in a big metropolitan area, you may be able to get that value back sooner. But like if you're in someplace more rural, you may be sitting on it. Like I get a lot of guys who are like, I'm going to buy Snap-on because when I retire, I can sell it all. And I'm like, well, maybe, but it could take years to sell it all. You're not going to have somebody come in and just drop, a bunch of money on it. But on top of that, think about this. If you spent, and I figured out the master mechanic at a dealership who buys all Snap-ons going to spend 100 grand.
Oh, easy,
Okay.
if not more.
Yeah. If he then turns around and sells it, he's going to get 50 grand back. If you go tool truck alternative, you're going to end up spending 33,000. So you've already saved that money. You could take that extra, 50 plus $1,000 and put it in a Roth IRA and retire a millionaire. And that's what these guys can't seem to grasp. It's like, well, I just bought, in fact, I think I've got it right here. I just bought a Snap-on ratchet off a guy. And, I think it's a $180 ratchet, and I think I paid $70 for it. And, it's, sure, if it breaks or something, I can try and get it warranted from a tool truck guy, but half the time, and on ratchets, they'll usually just rebuild it or something.
Right.
But like the Snap-on guy shows up in our town once a month. Matco guy once a month.
Yep.
Mac guy once a month. Cornwall guy, haven't seen him in months. Whereas I can get a Capri or a Tecton or an Icon, and I got immediate, if not near immediate, turnaround on my support, and I'm only spending a third of the cost.
Right. Now, Barbecue, he just did another $5 super chat.
Woohoo!
And now I don't know if you can read the screen on that.
Pellet poopers. You want me to say pellet poopers? Also, you're welcome to listening to me and coming around all the joys of poopers again. You're welcome. Thank you, sir. I will say this. I am a true die-in-the-heart, pellet grill person. I would never, somebody asked me the other day about, would you go into stick kind of stuff? Maybe when I'm like super old and they're actually retired and I have time to sit there and tend it, maybe I would, but they're just so easy. And then on top of that, I got another potential sponsor who actually makes this. It's a tray that goes underneath your burners that you put charcoal on.
Okay.
So it sits right on top of the fire pit. So not only can you smoke, but now you can get the actual charcoal flavor as well. So I'm looking forward to playing around with that.
Right.
Ribs are what I'm conquering this summer.
Like, Renegade, he's saying he's got over 100,000 in tools. Definitely not Snap-on or tool truck, brands. Well, he's got, I was thinking, what, Matco? I know he's got that Matco toolbox. He's always bragging about how big it is.
Those are pretty boxes. I like the Matco boxes.
Yeah. But, it's like for me, I looked, talking about that as far as quality. Now, to me, Chris and I, we've been in the Lowe's and we've seen the quality of how the Craftsman toolboxes are. And to me, it's like, no, I'm not buying this junk. The sheet metal on them is really thin.
I don't know if you can see. I got one right here. And I have a second one. Is my mic on?
Yeah.
All right. I got a second one, and I just brought it in, been in storage, and I took the foam mat off the top, and it peeled off half the paint.
Oh.
I'm like, mother trucker. So now I got to sand down the top of it and paint it with something so I can seal so it doesn't rust.
Right.
But I hate these boxes. I hate them with a passion. They're so cheap.
Yeah, they are cheap, and I mean they're cheaply made.
Yeah, but they're not cheap to buy.
No, but I'll put like this: I will definitely take a U.S. General over. To me, now just my opinion. Okay, this isn't written in stone out there. Jeff may agree, he may disagree. That's his opinion also. But to me, I think a U.S. General toolbox is one of the best you can use in a garage and not even take it over an Icon.
Other than the latch system, I would take the U.S. General probably over the Icon. If you look at pound for pound, dollar for dollar, the only exception to that is if you can get Icon has a scratch and dent sight,
Right.
and You can get, like, I saw one had a big scratch down the backside. I'm like, who gives a crap
Yeah,
about that? And it was like 35% off. I'm like, that's a great deal. That'd be awesome to have. I
yeah,
liked my Icon. For those of you who don't know, Harbor Freight sent me an Icon box. They sent me the US General Series 3 box. I really, and I've said this before, I really don't like the latch mechanism on the US General. I'm going to modify it because I can't, I hate getting my fingers up in there, even though it goes full length now. Now it's full
yeah.
length as bad as it was before. But the box itself is fantastic, and I love using the box. I will say this: my favorite box was the Tecton box I had, which is, of course, made by who is, I can never remember the name of that French sounding company. Starts with an R up in Canada, and it is fabulous box, but it's stupidly expensive as well.
Right,
It's almost the Snap-on kind of prices.
right. Like even Shop Cat's going, yeah, I guess on the Craftsman boxes. It's like
Oh
they're made of Speedy Kleenex, thin and wobbly.
yeah, they're. I mean, the wheels go on with sheet metal screws,
Yeah.
not bolts. The side handle, sheet metal screws. I
Mm-hmm.
just moved it from storage, the other box, and the handle almost came off. I have to go back. Oh my gosh, I could go on and on about these boxes. I hate them so much.
Right. Well, it's like for me, I got I do have the Series 2 in the top and bottom box as far as US General. I mean, it's a 56-inch. I am very, very happy. I mean, to me, quality wise, yeah, I know it didn't have the latch system that goes from side to side. I know I have to reach over to the right hand side to open it. I really don't care. It doesn't bother me. I like the fact that the sheet metal is stiff and thick enough to where it's not going to sit there. You push on it and you dent it.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you remember a long time ago, I did that video where I took a US General and a Cobalt and I put them in the back of my trailer and I drove them back and forth to Montana,
Yep.
back from Vegas, and full of tools. And the Cobalt survived. It had some rough spots and stuff, but it did a pretty decent job. The US General's like, let's do it again. It was ready to go.
Yeah.
And it sucks because I am an admitted self-proclaimed Craftsman fanboy. I grew up, my grandfather having Craftsman everything. I thought that was like, I mean, I would have liked to have SK, but Craftsman was that achievable goal that I could have and every time I look at it, I get that kind of warm, fuzzy, feeling that, oh, it's Craftsman, but it's crap. I
Yeah.
will say this: Craftsman did send me their newest overdrive tool line. They sent me 2 boxes, and I kept one for use in the shop, and I gave one to a buddy of mine who is a mobile mechanic and plumber and whatnot. And we've both been using them. And the ratchets are a little bit on the bigger side, but the sockets have been great. I love them.
All right. To me, growing up, that's what I, used was Craftsman tools. When I first got into doing automotive work for a living, I started off with it was a very small, I think 3 drawer little carry around box, but it was like a 300-piece kit. My parents bought me for Christmas and everything. It was just your plain Jane, hand tools, just the sockets and 1/4, 3/8, 1/2 inch, and then the different wrenches and pliers, stuff like that. Yeah, they worked. But then, of course, yeah, I need air tools and this, that, and the other. And it's like, then I got suckered in on the Snap-on truck. Like, "Argh." But I mean, to me, as far as a home person, Craftsman was fine back in the 60s, 70s, 80s. And I think they lost their way. They
Oh yeah, I
started,
mean, for years, pros used them. You'd
yeah,
see them. In fact, I still see pros who have old Craftsman tools. They work, and it's just a shame what Eddie, what's his name? Lambert, Lampert, whatever, the Fast Eddie, as I call him, what he did to that company. Honestly, I think he should go to jail for what he did to it. I think it was, corporate malfeasance as the CEO. He just ran him into the ground so he could part him out.
Yeah.
But did you hear they opened like a couple new stores?
Sears stores opened.
I heard some sort of news thing that they had opened a couple stores.
Ripley, Ripley, because I don't believe it.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, no. Um, I mean, I even worked for Sears for a while in their automotive center. I didn't have a problem. But would I go back to buying Craftsman tools? No. It's like Crystal knows me. It's like, okay, what is got what's on sale over at Harbor Freight? It's like, or I'll tell. Well, let's see. The Bear is talking about this over at Harbor Freight and everything, and this is what I need to go and get. You know, and now, did you see that video I did on their Black Friday sale they had
For Harbor Freight?
for Harbor Freight?
I don't remember. That was a long
Uh,
time ago.
I've got a friend of mine who's moving from Arizona, and he's actually going to be moving here, and he's acquiring one of my lots that I've got. Him and his wife are going to be moving out. They're putting a house on it. It's like, okay, good. And it's like he doesn't mind doing yard work, which for me, being my health and everything, I wasn't able to do it. It was like, oh, I got to live on landscaper now. It's like, okay, no problem. I had some trees and brush stuff like that, and he was asking me before he got here. It's like, what all do you have? I told him, well, I've got the my Cobalt chainsaw, I've got the reciprocating saw. Uh, he said, do you have a pole saw? I said, no, I don't. And I was going back and forth showing him as far as what Cobalt's got. He goes, well, what does Harbor Freight have? I said, well, let me look. It's like, okay, Bauer's got their pole saw, and the price on it, a lot better, price and everything. So we got it all figured out, picked him up on the Friday. It was like, you had Thanksgiving. It's like next day, Friday, they flew out that Friday. We went to Harbor Freight later that day, and he spent about $250 there on their Black Friday stuff. We got now the Bauer chainsaw, just the basic Bauer chainsaw. I know you've got one. To me, I would not go and buy it because to me, yeah, it does the job, it will work, but a couple of things on it that I don't like is fact it doesn't have a chain brake, and on top of that, it's a pain in the ass to tighten the chain on it because you literally have to loosen the side and you pull the bar out. There's nothing there to push the bar in and out with.
Yeah.
Okay. But the pole saw, what really got me was it comes with an Oregon bar and chain. And Oregon is a decent brand name out there when it comes to small engines or chainsaws and everything. But the way they have it designed is, yeah, you loosen up on the side, but it also comes with the tool to be able to sit there and tighten the bar and everything, just like everybody else does.
Are you talking about the Bauer pole saw there?
Yeah, the Bauer pole saw.
Yeah, I'll be honest. We have rarely, if ever, used, and I have both. I have the chainsaw and the pole saw. And in fact, Harbor Freight sent me both. And when they sent me the pole saw, they sent me four of them. It was someone screwed up, and I gave them out to my neighbors, and uh, we all use them all the time. I love. They're not perfect, but I'll use it like a chainsaw rather than, if I've got something, I just sit there and haft up on it and use it like a chainsaw. It's easier to use. It gets that dangerous angry beaver, all the way at the end, so you don't have to worry about it as much. And we're not felling huge trees also.
Right.
If I need to do that, I'm going to call an arborist, because we're on this crazy hill kind of stuff, where we're at. And I'm not, at my age and my health, I'm not going up to take down one of these trees. But for like the smaller stuff around there, we've got box elders, which rarely get bigger than this. It's a type of hardwood, but it's a softer hardwood, and we're whacking those suckers down left and right. I caught the misses with my truck backed up under a tree, with into the bed of the truck on a ladder, wearing one of the kids' bike helmets and safety glasses. Thank God she had the safety glasses, up there with the pole saw because she couldn't reach the bottom one, and she was hacking stuff down. I came home and I'm like, I realize we've got insurance now, but I think this is kind of pushing it. But everyone swears by that thing. It leaks oil, but a lot of these pole saws do. And it's not a super high end thing, but for as much as we use it and for what we do with it, I really like the Bauer pole saw. The chainsaw, though, you're right. It's a super cheap chainsaw.
Right.
It's the kind of thing you buy because you're already in the brand, you already have the batteries, and I'm only going to use it every so often. And if that's what you're going to do and you need a chainsaw, I totally get it.
Right.
But it's not one I would recommend. I wouldn't be like, hey, go into the Bauer brand. They have a fantastic chainsaw. Words you will never hear me say.
Right. It's like, for me, I will take my Cobalt chainsaw over the Bauer, because that one there, yes, it's got a longer thing. It's a 12-inch over a 10. But I mean, I can get chains and everything for it through. Matter of fact, I found someone on eBay that actually carried chains and everything for it.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. But now the pole saw from Bauer, I didn't have a problem with it leaking oil. Matter of fact, we used it for over a week, and
Well, what kind of oil were you using?
what they sent.
Yeah, I use Wesson.
I
It's a
don't
little bit
remember.
thinner. That's probably the reason why it leaks.
Yeah.
To be fully transparent on that, but it's super cheap.
Well, the thing about it is, I have no idea what the oil is, because it came in the little bottle and everything. And I do remember pouring it in there. It's like, yeah, this is is that 20 weight 10 or 20 weight oil that's going in there? It's like, okay. Luckily for me, I do have some, what was it, 80 weight bar and chain oil that's kind of sticky and everything. So, yeah, I put some of that in there too. And it's like, okay, no
Well,
problem.
I've got a bottle of Husqvarna bar and chain sitting in my mudroom, just ready to go. But it's like $10 a bottle or $8 a bottle, and then you can get that Wesson oil for like, half gallon for $3 or something like that. So, and I did a bunch of research on it, and like, other than having to add it more often, it works just fine. It smells good. If it gets on wood that you're going to burn, nobody cares. So that said, don't burn box elder. It's really sooty.
Now, my only question is, when you came home, did you get the camera out and video her doing all that?
I think I did take a picture. I have to find it. But I was just dumbfounded. I love her to death, and she's definitely one of these people who, if she can, she wants to be able to do it herself.
Right.
She did not grow up as being a handy kind of person. And but she, like, we did a demo on a room in a house we owned in California, and we rebuilt that whole thing. She absolutely loved it. So she loves getting her hands dirty. If she knows what to do, she will dive in there and do it.
Right.
Just some of the safety choices she makes are slightly questionable.
Right.
Like I should talk, because there's videos of me welding in flip-flops. I just used a grinder the other day to cut some bolts shorter while I'm holding the bolt with my hand and doing the safety squint. So don't do what I do, kids. Do as I say.
Yeah, I think I've seen that video. I think there was one that you were doing something. I think you had Crocs on.
I almost always do. So
It's like, okay. It's like, hope OSHA doesn't watch this video.
I'm surprised, YouTube hasn't taken me down for dangerous acts.
But sometimes you got to do what you got to do with what you've got.
The fact that you have Crocs is questionable in itself. Barbecue 76 give me a hard time. Here's the deal. I wear size 15. That's 1.5. So that's hard enough. But then I wear like double width, like not just wide, extra wide, like as wide as it is long. I got literally Sasquatch feet. And I swore I would never wear Crocs. I thought they were hideous. I still think they're hideous. And my wife had been listening to me complain about shoes and my feet for years and years. And she came home with some Crocs, and and I think her mom talked or gave it to her or talked her into it. Her mom's a little bit on the hippy dippy side, but we love her. And but she's right about so many things. I put them on, and the second I put them on, I'm like, oh, this is heaven. My feet don't hurt. I'm comfortable. They're not a fashion statement, and I wish they didn't have all the freaking holes in them all the time. But if somebody can come up with a better shoe, I will wear it.
Yeah. Now, I just hope that you don't do welding and you decide you're going to wear like uh, sandals and show your feet. And what was that scientist? I'm trying to remember the movie where he was. Oh, what's that comedian? Rob Snyder.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
where the scientist decided to put all the different animal parts into him.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
You remember that?
I can't remember what it was called. Maybe it was called Animal or something. I don't remember, but it was yeah.
Yeah, like I just hope you don't decide to film down and all of a sudden you've got the toenails like his.
I don't have pretty feet. I'll tell you that. No one wants to get feet pics of me.
What didn't
So
he use an angle grinder to trim his big toenail?
I don't have to go that far, but I do use a Dremel.
It's like, okay.
It's I was sitting there one day and I'm like, I hate working with clippers and stuff. I'm like, I got a rotary tool. We're just gonna get the rotary tool out. I'm like, that was great. I'm gonna do that again. So I'm all
Yeah,
about finding, other uses for my tools. Like legit, I was gonna buy like a cigar lighter. I might just bring over my map gas torch because that'll light the what of a cigar. So
yeah. Now I'll put it like this. One thing that I'm not going to be afraid to admit. But the fact is that yes, I've gone and gotten about 3 or 4 different pedicures. I don't mind it. I mean, be able to sit back, relax, and let someone else down there that can see and have better, advantage over trimming everything. It's worth the what, 30, $35?
oh, I totally get it. I totally understand. I can't bring myself to let somebody mess with my feet. Maybe the wife, but she's helped me with my toes and stuff before, but I could never do that. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm not making it. It's just me. I would, my feet would jump. I'm probably too ticklish or something. I don't know, but I would just cause a scene. I'd get
But
kicked out.
I tell you, I think the last one I had was when I went on my cruise back in 19 and actually did it the day before. And I tell you, you'd be surprised how much better your feet do feel because they get them soft. They take off the callus skin and everything. It's like, okay, now I'm ready to get out there in that hot sandy beach.
The worst I've done is an office that I worked at for a while. Right next door was this like foot massage place, and they were running a special to get new clients in. And I was bored and didn't have anything to do that afternoon after I came out of the office, and so I went and got one of these massages. And it was this little Chinese lady doing it, and I swear she tried to debone my leg. It was she tried to get her little bony thumbs like between the bone and the shin bone and the muscle, and
The
I'm
ten-
like, it's not a chicken wing, lady. You can't dip it in barbecue sauce and eat it. I hope.
she,
But
she just trying to give you one of those deep muscle
I
massage.
got up, I got up and walked out. I'm like, F this, I'm done. This is not massage. This is not relaxing. This is absolute torture. I'm gone. I am not good at relaxing like that. I think I've had a massage once or twice, and it just makes me more tense.
Yeah. But like I said, I don't mind. Like I said, I'm not going to be afraid to admit that. Yeah, I've had them. I told Crystals, once the money is available, hey, yeah, find me someone that does it. I'll go in. I'll go
Yeah,
in. On that one.
what works for me up here in Montana is we got a lot of natural thermal hot springs. So I'll go to the hot springs. I can relax. Most of them have like a bar right there, so you can get yourself, like a frozen margarita or something, and sit in like 107, 110-degree water, however hot it is.
Right.
That's about the pampering I can handle. Someone bringing me a drink. That's where I'm at. Actually laying on hands, nah.
I can have that done on a cruise ship in the hot tub.
Yeah.
I've had it done. Yeah. Now that's fun. I can't wait to go back on another one.
Oh, that's what I should do this weekend. So my birthday's coming up. The missus and I, we share like a week where our birthdays both coincide, and the missus was asking me what I wanted to do for my birthday, and I'm like, I don't know, sit home, watch a movie. I don't care, but we should we're probably gonna make a trip down to the hot tubs.
Yeah, yours comes actually right before mine.
Yeah.
And
So
say that would let's say you're Aries, I'm Pisces.
nope, Aquarius.
Or Aquarius, excuse me. Yeah. Oh, cackle from the back of the room is not accepted this time of the night.
Hey,
Oh,
speaking of
speaking-
toenails,
Yeah, I know. We got blondies to do.
well, it's quicker to go out the back.
Yeah. There's Wohawk.
Yeah, he's been hiding in chat.
Oh, has he? I haven't seen it.
I know.
well, speaking of time, I have to get going.
Okay.
I think the missus is waiting on me for dinner at this point.
Well, one thing else I was gonna say, talking about Vevor and everything, is that there's a lot of the companies out there that do the influencer program.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Vevor actually turned me down saying I don't have my channel does not represent something that they would be interested. I'm going, really? I guess you really didn't take a good look at what I do on my channel because I'm all over the place doing stuff. I mean,
She's here, silly puppy.
no, that's your dog, not mine. At least I don't have a meth dog jumping all over me.
Meth lab like I have.
Yeah. Yeah, which I know that she's banned from the studio.
She is for now, but once we get everything organized, I get some carpet down, and we get rid of some of these paint fumes. We're gonna bring her down more.
Okay. But like I said, that was something else I was going to mention. Is the fact is that they actually said, no, we don't want you as an influencer. I'm going, wouldn't you want to get something, your name out there? Wouldn't you want to get these channels to start talking about you? I guess not.
Well, you dodged a bullet as far as I'm concerned. So
Yeah. And like I said, with their attitude on that, and then, oh, well, if your part is still under warranty, we don't have a problem sending the stuff to you for free. But if it's not, we won't sell it to you.
Yeah, and that's I'm gonna start doing. Anyway, I try to stay positive on the videos that I do, but like with Segway, I came out and I'm like, hey, these guys are doing something that's not great. Another one I'm going to be coming out with, I'm thinking about doing is Hemingway, which is one of the e-bike companies, and I've actually done a video with them before, and it came out great. And they actually asked me to come to CES and do a live stream from their booth, and I was planning to do it, but then I didn't end up going to CES because I was still recovering and whatnot. And then they said, "Well, can we just send you the latest bike we've got?" I'm like, "Sure." I've got a friend who needs an e-bike. You send it over, I'll review it, and he can have the e-bike. And because Lord knows I don't need it anymore. And the contract they sent said in it, and I read every word of every contract that gets sent over. And the contract they says, no negative, subjective comments.
Right.
Like, if you want to say like, hey, this battery is not a great battery, you can say that. But if your view is subjective, you're not allowed to say it. I'm like, F you.
Yeah.
And so I don't want to do it because I absolutely hate drama. But I think people need to know if there's people who are working with influencers who are putting out these contracts saying you can't say bad things. And so people are like, hey, everything's great, when maybe it wasn't. Maybe there was something they didn't like.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe it honestly was great, but if you put in the contract no negative stuff, that again, one of those red flags I think needs to get talked about.
Yeah. And that's why, Saker, they actually reached out. They sent me their little was it 12-volt polisher?
Yeah.
And I did the unboxing and a couple other things. I sent the video to them. Then they said, well, we want, a video of it in action. So I wound up doing that also. As far as I know, they never used any of that. And I think the main thing is, to me, it's not worth it because the way everything is set up on it. I mean, you plug into the battery to charge off a wall adapter. And it's like, and I had a hard time even trying to figure out where you plug in at. I'm looking all over on the battery. Where the hell do you plug this thing in at? And on top of that, most battery tools, you can check to see how much battery is left in it, how much power. On that sander, no, the only way to find out is you have to turn it on. It's like,
Yeah, I mean, a lot of Milwaukee 12-volt stuff is like that. So I think all of it is actually.
is it?
Yeah. That they have the battery indicator on the tool, so you have to give it a little rev so you can see the lights.
I know my Cobalt 18, all the batteries have it right there on the battery.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Anyway, I got to run. Thanks for having me on. Hopefully we can do this again. Now that I've got the studio, I still have the shop, but the studio's heated. Right now it is 71 degrees in here. So I'm comfy. I'm actually in shorts and Crocs. Yes, I am. And I can get some actual work done here. And then, I'm going to start firing up the space heater down at the shop to do work down there. So anyway, hopefully we can do this again some more. But I got to run. So you take care. God bless. And as always, shine on.
I appreciate it. You take care. All right. Now that definitely was interesting. I appreciate, having him on and everything. Um hopefully, everybody enjoyed that. Um but yeah, I mean that's that was, like I said, the main thing was, I know we got off topic and everything. Of course, when do we not? Um no problem, CMC. And I've been seeing, kind of everybody, popping in, but I've been also trying to, see what he has to say. Yes, I know that Rails here, barbecue, Renegade, which I'm surprised Renegade is actually staying awake this late. Usually old folks need to be in bed early. Um, there's nothing wrong with my. I don't have long fingernails. What are you talking about? Um, but yeah, like I said, just the fact is that he had not seen those videos. It's like I'm just trying to inform him about them. That way, he knew as far as well. I didn't like what they said, or I did like. But yeah, it's very interesting. Yeah, Jeff is a very great guy. Like I said at the beginning, his effect is that yeah, I mean, I still consider myself a small channel. I mean, I haven't even hit seven. I don't even think I've hit 730 subs, and yet you look at his sub count over a quarter of a million, and he's been on my channel 5 or 6 times. He does not have a problem doing that. Um, so I mean, of course, I don't know. It might have been less than that, but oh, I don't know. This might be the fourth time, but I I appreciate him coming on. And like I told him, hey, you're giving the little guy an opportunity. It's kind of like what Crystal and I were talking about. Is that I've got a video that I put out when I bought my in cabinet in locker from Harbor Freight. When it's like, okay, what color am I going to get? All right, fine, we're getting red. So we showed up at Harbor Freight, got the in locker, in cabinet, brought it back. I did the video on it. He made a comment or shared it out and everything. That video's gotten I think, almost 6,000 views. But yeah, barbecue. The channel is really um been growing. Mainly because I was doing those shorts. Um, when I was so unemployed at the time. When I built that power tool station. Um, I didn't have anything else to do, so it's like, let me find something. Um, but now once since I am back to work, most of the videos I'll be doing are going to be on the weekend as far as when they're going to be done. Yep. That's the thing. I sent him an email and he responded back. It's like, hey, yeah, when do you want to do it? And it's like, well, um, true, but you've got a lot more than what I've got, Renegade. Um, yes, CMC, I got a job Monday when I did my live stream. If you were here for that one, you would have found out. Yes, I finally got me a job. Um, actually, I went for the interview last week, and they offered it to me. Thank you. I appreciate that. Um, but yeah, I mean, like I said, it's just fact is that I started doing those shorts, and it's like channel subscribers grew almost 100 in a month or so. Um, man, almost 3,000. That's not bad. Walk, it should be 23 because I wound up finding out I wasn't, and I did. But like I said, most of the videos and shorts and everything, which next series will be on the truck. I had to wait for Mother Nature to quit. Oh, I thought it was 23. Okay. But anyways, yeah, shorts are where you do get the subs, you get a lot of watch time. I could not believe that I got, what was it, 2,600 views on crushing aluminum cans. All I was doing was standing there, putting it in, pulling the arm down. It was like, of course, I was talking through it and everything, and I did it my way. And of course, now someone else I went up watching is Cowboy Car Crushing. It's like, yeah, I'm not the only one here in Texas that can crush cans and everything. It's like, yeah, I got these in here, and it's like, oh, I can go for, get them stacked up 3D. It's like, why not? They might not count uh in one way, but you still get the watch time. But it still kept getting me subscribers. Um, yeah. And the weird thing about it is, oh, I don't know. I'm still not gonna worry about that or not. But anyways, the fact is that when Money Maniac was here, he said, "Yeah, you need to do shorts." And the very next day, I got an email. Once he went back, YouTube says, "Hey, start doing shorts and everything. It'll make your channel grow. You'll start getting subscribers." So it's like, okay, fine. I started doing that. Yeah, I started getting subs. Now, if it wasn't a meatball, which I like the meatball subs from Subway, but that's a different kind. It's also it wasn't a of course the kind of sub that I was not getting was not the kind of goes underwater, which yeah, was right here. We don't even have any thing where you can be in something like that. Wahawk, it's yeah. I mean, travel trailer. I was in one for almost 2 years. All right, Renegade. Well, I've only got about 13 more minutes left, so you take care. Maybe I'll be off early enough Friday to catch you on your Friday stream. Yeah, as far as a old travel trailer, depending upon who made it, whether the company's still in business or not, that's a different story. Of course, the way they make those travel trailers and campers and stuff like that, um, they make them out of thin wood, and of course, they got to make them lightweight. Jayco Golden Nugget. Jayco, I don't know. I think Jayco is still around. You might be able to find stuff for it. That I'm not sure of. I won't, don't hold me to it. Um, True. And the one nice thing about with the camper is all your lighting is 12 volts, which, oh, by the way, yeah, just go over to AutoZone, O'Reilly's, Walmart, and just buy some LED light bulbs. The kind of going, go over into automotive and just get some of the regular, lights that are LED. Yep, there you go. Ah, see, that's a good thing. That's something else I was going to say is you might be able to find a scrapyard around that might actually have them. Oh, there you go, Wahawk. Shopcat's got a 96 one. Of course, I don't know how difficult it is for you, Wahawk, to get across the border because, yeah, Shopcat, he's up there in Canada. Don't you know? Okay, so there's no wiring. Is there a power converter even in it? Because that'd be yeah. Okay, so it's not a tent trailer. Okay, so it's a regular travel trailer. Okay. Um, Something like that, you're going to need to find at least a um. Man, those are actually like a 2x1. I don't know. I've got some out here now. Um, as far as power wise, yeah, you're going to need some things that are going to be for a regular 110, and then you're going to need like all your lights and stuff like that. Oh, there's the other crazy Canadian. Hi, Sarah. Um, yeah, but a power converter is going to be doing your all your lighting. Um, I'm trying to think of what else is on. I know. Um, okay, that's going to be a heavy trailer. I hope it's not going to be one that you're going to be wanting to pull and travel with it. It's just going to be sitting there on a permanent basis. Um, okay. Well, like I said, I was actually in I'm staying in a self-propelled RV. Sarah, we don't need to hear that. It's like you're always doing that. But no, just like I said, all your lighting and everything should be 12 volt, which that doesn't, make the electric bill go up hardly anything. Um, I know that. Are you on like city water? Yeah, and that's Crystal talking there. Because I do know that most of your RVs and travel trailers, they actually have um, you got the holding tanks for fresh water, and it's I go have fun talking to Sarah. I'll be shutting it down here in a few minutes. Um, but no, you got a fresh water holding tank, and that's got a 12 volt pump in there. Um, Now, one thing, Warhawk, if you can find it, is the little 6-gallon water heater. Those things are definitely worth it because you can actually, they're electric and they run off of 110. Okay. Yeah, that's one way of doing it. Just if I knew um, how far away you were and everything, I was going to say I've got. So that's one thing I was doing for a while. Is I knew a guy at a junkyard around here. They would get the RVs in and they would just crush them. They wouldn't strip anything out. It's like, man, they were leaving fridges, um, air conditioners. They were, you know, whatever was in it, it got crushed. And I'm going, really? Do you know how much those damn refrigerators and everything are? Stoves, everything, the heater. He'd call me up, say, hey, we just got one in. I go out there in my truck, few of my tools, and I strip it down, leave it all on the ground, and um, he let me go back there in my truck. I'd load everything up, and I drive up to the front. He goes, "You didn't find anything out there, did you?" I go, "Nope, didn't see a thing." I go, "Okay, I didn't think so." And I was loading up refrigerators. Uh, I'm going out with just about everything. Okay, well, how big of a um, travel trailer is it? Oh, I didn't know there was that many of them out there. Hmm. Yeah, like I said, that's the thing about with the one I was going through. I wouldn't have to pay for anything. Matter of fact, I got one refrigerator. Um, I wound up having extra. I want to sell it to somebody. I think I got. Actually, I didn't give anything for it, but turned around and sold it for like $200. So I was making a little bit of extra money at the time on the side, which I didn't complain about. Well, what you need to do is do a video on it. That way we can take a look at it. I mean, it's a rebuilding process. Yeah, and that's the whole thing is, um, like I said, that power tool station I made. I didn't think anybody would really be interested. I was like, yeah, okay, fine. I started making the videos on it. Did the shorts even. People were watching. That's where I got a lot of my subs and everything at. But all right, well, anyways, it's coming up on 9 o'clock, and I need to be able to get some sleep. because I'm up at 4:30 in the morning, and like I said, it's almost 9 now because I got to be at work at 6, and it's about a 20-minute drive over there. I would take the bike and everything, but it'll still a little cool in the mornings. I was like, nice and warm in the afternoon, but still a little too cool in the morning. Yeah. Thank you, Rail. Appreciate it. I don't know when I'll be getting my first paycheck, probably about 2 or 3 weeks. And right now we've been working like 9-hour days. So yeah. I'm working for a place and we do cabinets. We're actually building cabinets, for houses and stuff. So it's not bad. But I'll keep you all up to date on that. Yeah, I mean it's not paying all that bad either. So like I said, 20 minutes away from the house is not bad. But anyways, I need to get in there, actually grab some dinner, which Crystal made before the stream started, and I haven't even had my dinner yet. So I need to get that done, and I gotta wind down and get to sleep. That way I'm up in the morning. But I appreciate everybody's come in here on the chat tonight. I appreciate Jeff for coming in on the stream where we could talk. And until next time, everybody, y'all stay safe. God bless, and y'all have a good night. And I will see y'all next month, which is tomorrow. Tomorrow is next month. All right. Good night, everybody. Y'all stay safe.